What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be sharing several different ways you can take those inky backgrounds we created in last week's Mixed Media Monday and easily turn them into beautiful cards. Let's get into it. I know what you might be thinking, this doesn't really feel like a Mixed Media Monday. And while that might be true, I do think it's just as important to show you how to actually finish cards or projects using some of those backgrounds we create. Now, a lot of these concepts are inspired by my Christmas Cards by the Dozen class. If you want more in-depth explanation and even more fun ideas, be sure to check out that class in the description box below. Now, if any time during this video you find it helpful, I'd love for you to hit that like button and leave me a comment letting me know your favorite way to finish off a card and or use up those backgrounds you have lying around. So what I'm going to do first, instead of working one card at a time, I'm actually going to do a lot of my prep work ahead of time so that I can easily put these cards together. I'm going to start by die cutting white cardstock using the Concord and Ninth Hearts die. This die is perfect for inlay die cutting techniques, which we'll focus a little bit on today. Now, I'm not going to be using those heart cutouts just yet, but save them for future projects. After die cutting, I'll emboss each white cardstock panel to add texture. I am going to die cut and emboss about 4 to 5 white cardstock panels to have them on hand. I use the same embossing folder to emboss about 2 or 3 white cardstock panels to have on hand as well. I'm also going to take 2 of the inked backgrounds that we did last week and die cut them out with the Concord and Ninth die. And I'm going to take one of those inked backgrounds and cut it in half. I am going to emboss those 2 panels with one of my favorite embossing folders right now. It is a leaf embossing folder from Altenew. Doing a lot of this prep work helps streamline your card making and makes the process faster and more efficient. All right, so I wanted to add a subtle, dainty touch to these backgrounds, and I'm going to be using the script stamp from Simon Hurley with white pigment ink. This is going to add implied texture and depth. I love my backgrounds really grungy and full of layers. I stamp a couple of those distress inked panels with the script stamp as well. Piecing together the hearts took a while because I wanted each one to be unique. That's the beauty of die cutting backgrounds, is you can mix and match the pieces for a fresh new look. Taking those 2 smaller panels that I embossed earlier, now I'm going to highlight the embossed details. I swipe the white pigment ink over the raised areas. It's a simple technique I love and use it often because it adds so much to the cards. Now that all of our prep work is done, we are going to assemble the cards. So for adhering the die cut hearts, I used the 3M Super 77 multi-purpose adhesive. It's hands down the best spray adhesive I've tried, making it super easy to attach elements without fussing with liquid glue. When I'm doing this inlay die cutting, I actually use an embossed panel I didn't love as a guide. I'm going to be placing foam squares on each of the heart and nestle them into the die cut opening. This guide helps me keep the layout straight. I'm going to adhere all of those little hearts, then I'm going to peel off the embossed panel that we're not going to use, and I absolutely love how these turned out. Simple yet so beautiful. Looking back on this card, I should have added some gold splatters just to add a little more something to this card, but I love it either way. For this next card, I'm going to be using some mint tape to hold all of the die cut panel and the hearts together. I'm going to flip it over and spray the adhesive on the back of it. This made adhering it to the card panel quick and easy. I then gently removed the mint tape and it worked perfectly. So for those 2 smaller panels, I am going to be distressing the edges, roughing them up a little bit. I do this by opening up my scissors. I hold them tightly and scrape the paper edges to create interest and a grungy look on the card. And you really need to be careful because if you are using thinner paper or really sharp scissors, it can tear easily. So just take your time with this technique. To finish off these 2 cards, I used double-sided foam adhesive to pop up the panels. Now on these 2 cards, I didn't add any sentiments, but on the other cards, I do a mixture of Simon Says stamp and Tim Holtz occasion stickers. Now I didn't fully adhere all of the sentiments because I might switch things up for later. And again, I didn't use any sentiments on those smaller paneled cards because I might do a different theme than Valentine's Day for those. All right, and that's it. Super simple ways to turn your backgrounds into beautiful cards with die cutting, embossing, inlay techniques, and more. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you're new here, I would love for you to hit that subscribe button and join the community. Plus, there's another video right here that you might enjoy. If you create anything inspired by these cards, be sure to tag me on social media. I would love to see it. And as always, don't forget to stay creative, my friends.